If you haven't seen it, check out Brady Bacon's social media. They're posting pictures of him on there. Little 1/64th scale die casts of that number 69 you see out on track.
So the small ones, they don't have the bigger ones, just small ones?
No, right now I believe, at least that's what I saw on Twitter, was 1/64ths are available. But I'll go back when the D2s are on track.
They are a object lesson. You know, the Eubanks, Mike and Megan Eubanks, I did a story on Brady, and Brady told me that Mike Eubanks told him, you've got to deal with the fans and you've got to get a merchandise trailer to get up and down the road. And in my mind, in so many ways, they do so many smart things in terms of merchandise.
Oh, absolutely.
And that really helps them, and a whole lot of folks are getting on board. But we got race cars on the track, Tony.
Simpson Race Products heat race number 1 set to go. It's going to be a 10-lap affair. The top 5 will survive and advance. Let's see the starting lineup. Here in Simpson Race Products, heat race number 1. Here's how they'll line up. On the inside of the front row, from Fairland, Indiana, it's the number 29, Brent Beauchamp will start up front. Alongside him in the 23S from San Jose, California, that's T-Mez, Thomas Meserol starting second.
J-Mac, Jason McDougall calls Broken Arrow, Oklahoma home. He's in the 5M car. He'll be on the inside of row number 2 and alongside. We've talked about him, unprecedented rookie year for the 19AZ from Minden, Nevada. It is Tanner Thorson.
In row number 3, you'll see the driver, the Dr. Pepper, presents the Ronald McDonald House Charities 9K. Coleman, Alabama's Kevin Thomas Jr. starts 5th. And alongside him, your Fatheads Eyewear Quick Time Award winner, the number 69, the Macho Man, Brady Bacon in 6th.
This is a heat race, isn't it? Inside row number 4 from American Canyon in California, that's Travis Berryhill. Good to have him back from a little bit farther away. From Auckland, New Zealand, the 79 BT, that's Max Guilford.
And rounding out the field here in Simpson Race Products heat race number 1, it's the driver I totally skipped over in Fatheads Eyewear qualifying. That's the P8, Mooresville, Indiana's Andrew Prather. So the field getting ready to go here. Again, 3 heat races on tap here for us tonight at Circle City Raceway. The drivers will race for 10 laps, and you got to be in the top 5 if you want to make sure you're racing in tonight's main event.
When you have the 3 heat format, it's a top 5 advance to the feature event. So for those of you who are new, and we always have some, that's your qualifying session ultimately sets up your heat race. Brady Bacon was the fast qualifier. We invert 6. He's on the outside of row number 3. Then the top 5 will advance to the feature event. Those who do not move automatically to the B feature. It's got many names. B features, suitcase, semi, hooligan, you name it. That's your last chance to get in the final event of the night.
So here we go, field coming around behind the Eddie Gilstrap Motors of Salem, Indiana, Ford F-150 Pace truck. We got some youngsters down in the front pointing out who they're keeping an eye on. I think they were saying, watch that number 69 of Brady Bacon. Well, those youngsters would be correct. He is going to be one of many to watch. Pat said it. This is a pretty loaded Simpson Race Products heat race number 1. Beauchamp and Meserol, the front row. 10 laps, top 5 advance. Green flags out. Let's get it on. Beauchamp kicks it sideways right there, Pat, and he's going to skate up the track just a little bit, but Thomas Meserol drives underneath. He'll lead him down the back.
Yeah, Thomas Meserol, we mentioned it. He can jump in an unusual car and just seemingly make it go, but it's a scramble behind them.
Thomas Meserol leads lap number 1 here. 1 down, 9 to go. Watch that battle for the 5th position. Brady Bacon just on the outside right now. Tanner Thorson running in that 5th position, and then up in front of him, it's a 3-car battle for 2nd as Meserol starts to drive away to a nearly 2nd lead. Beauchamp, KT, McDougall, and Thorson. Brady Bacon, though, stalking after starting the race.
Yeah, look at him working on the bottom as he goes to the inside of Tanner Thorson. Now swing side, maybe. I don't know if there was contact there or not, but that certainly upset the balance of the 69.
It sure does. Brady slides up the track. He's going to go from 6th back a few positions. He goes to work right there on the drivers right up in front of him. Bacon and Guilford, they're side by side down the front straightaway. He gets past Guilford, and now he'll go after the P8 of Prather. So put Bacon right back where he was. 1 position on the outside looking in. He's in 6th.
And he's got quite a bit of track position to make up. Now he's got half the heat race to get it done. That's good news. Meanwhile, Kevin Thomas Jr. is starting to pour on the coals in that 9 machine.
Yeah, KTJ really starting to pick up the pace here, but all eyes are on that fight for the transfer position. Tanner Thorson helps his cause out big time as he gets around Jason McDougall. That puts him 1 more position to the better. Bacon is your quickest race car out on track, and now he'll square up with J-Mac. Jason McDougall, they're going to come down to see 2 to go. They're side by side. That's the fight for the transfer.
Yeah, there goes Brady Bacon working to the inside, slides down through turn number 4 and slips up in front of McDougall.
So Brady Bacon now works in to the 5th and final transfer position. A race for the lead. Meanwhile, starts up. Thomas Meserol's been out in front since the word go, but now he's got Kevin Thomas Jr. right behind. Pat White flags in the air. 1 lap left.
I like how KTJ's been working on the bottom. Now, will he get there? I don't know. Thomas Meserol, smart enough to protect his flank, and should get it done, and does.
Checkered flag waves. Teames. Thomas Meserol gets the job done. Brady Bacon was working on Brent Beauchamp for that 4th position, but it's no matter. Bacon will transfer through after running 5th. He laid down the race's quickest lap.
That's exactly right, and that's the veteran. He didn't lose his poise. That's what makes him a 3-time champion, able to bump his way into the feature event.
Meserol's your winner. KTJ comes home 2nd. Tanner Thorson runs to 3rd. Brent Beauchamp 4th, and locking his way in after finishing 5th. That is the Macho Man, number 69, Brady Bacon. But we're set to hear from the winner of Simpson Race Products Heat Race number 1. He drives the 23S tonight for Jim Simon. Teames Thomas Meserol is your winner.
Yeah, he sure is, Tony. Thomas Meserol picks up Simpson Race Products Heat Race number 1. Unlike a lot of guys, he's got laps around this place. Not only does he have laps, but he's got a win in a wing sprint car. But Teames, there you had to come off the top to kind of protect the bottom from Kevin Thomas Jr. Did you want to do that, or did you feel like you had to?
Well, rolling up to the heat race, I saw I had Tanner, Bacon, KT, and Beauchamp, and I knew that was going to be a tough one. And Kyle Simon told me I had to win that, so we did what we had to do.
He sure did. Thomas Meserol picks up Simpson Race Products Heat Race number 1 win.
They told him he had to win. That's what he did.
I'd be interested to hear what it's like with the feedback versus he or Jack Yaley, since he gave one of the classic interviews that he uses of all time about the motivational speech he received from Jack. But he knows how to get it done, so good job by Teames.
The difference in car owners between Jim Simon and Cactus Jack Yaley, yeah, that would be something we could probably write a book on. No matter, Thomas Meserol is your winner of Simpson Race Products Heat Race number 1, and that means we're just going to keep on moving. Competition Suspension Incorporated presents Heat Race number 2. Those cars are down on the front straightaway, ready to fire off. Let's introduce you to the drivers here in our second heat of the night, let you know who's in it and exactly where they'll roll off. Turn number 4 behind Ray Kennins in that Ford F-150. They see the 1 to go signal. So again, Lewis and Hughes are your front row. Adams and Wyndham, row number 2. Leary, Swanson, Ballou, Cromwell, and Hampton. This is CSI Heat Race number 2.
You know, Ricky's won about 3 or 4 sprint car races this year, really at various places across the country. He's been back in California. He's had a personal matter to attend to. Our thoughts are with Ricky Lewis. We know he worked all night to get this race car ready, and now he'll just focus on this job.
He starts up front. He wants to stay up front. He'll lead him down into turn number 1. Slides up the track just like we saw J.J. Hughes, Chris Wyndham, and Jake Swanson, as well as Cromwell, all have to take evasive action. The yellow lights come on.
Yeah, that's going to bring that start back.
So the field gets bunched back up here again after Lewis gets sideways right there in the middle of turns 1 and 2. And again, not uncommon. We saw Beauchamp slide up a little bit himself right there on the start of heat race number 1. Little bit more sideways than we'd like to see from Lewis.
Could have been a worse spot. However, at least they weren't up to complete speed there, and ultimately we came out of that about as unscathed as one can.
I'll tell you this, I just love what the Bird family has done here at Circle City Raceway. And Bob Sargent, Adam Mackey coming in, they're co-promoting this event. But it is so dang cool to be back in Indianapolis racing non-wing sprint cars.
Well, they've had not only the many things they've done over the years in racing, they've been dedicated open wheel racing, instrumental in the opportunity for the great Rich Fogler to get to Indianapolis. And for that, we really appreciate it.
So we're going to try it again here. Lewis is going to work down even lower this time as he works through turn number 1. Works for him as he leads him down the back straightaway. Almost 3 wide there for a second. J.J. Hughes is in the middle. Couple cars get together farther on back. Lap number 1 in the books. Ricky Lewis and Max Adams battling at the front. Yellow lights on once again.
Tony, that was really legitimately, I think, for at least a second or 2, 3 wide. That we say that a lot when it's sort of close, but Chris Wyndham, I think, was looking at that wall of cars in front of him and said, something has to break loose here or I'm stuck right where I'm at.
It's Jake Swanson right over there up against the turn 4 wall. The driver of the 21 AZ, who was quick late in Fatheads Eyewear qualifying, and he was right up there at the front until the very last car to roll out, and that, of course, was the Macho Man, Brady Bacon.
You know, that's one of the stories to me is the fact that the fast qualifiers were really at the very end of the queue, and that speaks really well for the track preparation.
So one more time, we're going to show them 1 to go. We do have 1 lap in the book, so 1 down, 9 laps remaining here. Lewis starting out on the inside of the front row. He is scored as your race leader, Max Adams, right behind him. And then you've got J.J. Hughes in third. That NOS energy drink, number 19, is piloted by Chris Wyndham and C.J. Leary. He rounds out the top 5. Green flag is back in the air. 1 down, 9 to go. Look at Max Adams. He took a big look down to the inside of turn number 1. Now that Ricky Lewis has survived a couple starts, he seems to have found his comfort zone. He's doing a really good job, although Max Adams wants to do a good job himself. Lewis leads lap number 2, but Adams is just working and working and working on that bottom lane.
Yeah, what a run further back. C.J. Leary's right there behind Chris Wyndham. Max Adams is working really well on the bottom.
That race with C.J. Leary and Robert Ballou, of course, wouldn't you know it, it's for the 5th and final transfer position. Leary has the spot. The front 4 are all over each other. Max Adams goes all the way down to the bottom through 3, and he's going to cut off Lewis as Lewis bounces off of Wyndham. They all keep it pointing in the right direction. New race leader is Adams. Move J.J. Hughes up to 2nd. Wyndham now to 3rd.
I have to blink because I can't believe we got through that, but we did. And Adams ultimately the beneficiary as he's now up front with J.J. running in the 2nd spot.
How quickly things can change. Ricky Lewis goes from leading. Now he's fighting with a fellow Californian, Robert Ballou, for that 5th and final transfer position. Well, Ballou is going to take it over as they come around to see only 4 laps to go.
I don't think Ricky's just going to stay there patiently. He'll try to make something happen, but he's got a lot of work to do. But Max Adams, this is a feel-good story watching Columbus, California driver out front.
And then J.J. Hughes in 2nd. C.J. Leary and Wyndham were having a really good track race just about a lap ago. Now Leary's left Wyndham behind. He'll go after the 76 of Hughes. Leary picks him up, puts him down. He's now into the 2nd position. 2 laps left.
Professional move there by C.J. Leary, who just bid his time and then worked the bottom so nicely to slide in front of Hughes for that 2nd spot.
No surprise, Leary, your quickest car on the track, 12.771. Last time by, white flag waves. Leary's not done yet. He wants to go after Max Adams for the heat race win here. I think he's going to be close, but he's going to run out of time. Max Adams takes Epperson Racing to the front and stays there. He wins CSI Heat number 2.
And again, winning a heat race is so important because it can improve your starting position if you weren't in that top 6 in qualifying.
very valuable to be strong here in these heat races, and Max Adams was that, and then some. CJ Leary runs to second. JJ Hughes survives a wild and woolly one up there. He ends up third. Wyndham and Ballou, the top 5. Lewis backslides to 6th. We'll see him in the semi. Then you're also going to have Scott Hampton, Braden Cromwell, and, wow, Jake Swanson.
Yeah, and a nice job by J.J. Hughes to run in that third spot. Good for him as he's easily in the feature event. And there's Christie waiting patiently down in front of the banners as we see has to be a thrilled Max Adams roll into that coveted ground.
He told me back at SmackDown all he wants to do is go back to racing. He's gone back to racing and winning. Let's check in with Christie.
Thanks, Tony. Max Adams picks up the competition suspension heat race number 2 win. Max, there was quite a bit of chaos right in front of you on both of those starts. Was it really more about navigating that?
Yeah, I kind of knew them guys would probably try sliding each other there at the start, and it was all about hitting the bottom on that start, and was able to do that. And Ricky kind of got away there to lead the heat race, and just kept rolling the bottom, and it ended up paying off. Super happy to be driving this Epperson painting 2E. I got to thank Tony, his grandson Ethan, Mike Gass, and all the guys helping us. We're pretty good right now, so looking forward to the feature.
Max Adams wins competition suspension heat race number 2.
Great job, Christy. Good work, and congratulations to Max Adams. Folks, as he takes it back to the pit area, make some noise and let him hear it. Max Adams back behind the wheel of a race car after a scary accident earlier this summer. That was good stuff right there.
Yeah, really good. His whole family really moved out here. His sister, I believe, graduated this year from IUPUI. Dad does a lot of landscaping work in the area. It's just really nice to have them back. Again, they settled up in Marion, Indiana. By the way, congratulations to Scotty Weir. I believe he picked up the Gas City Championship, so he's been pretty good over this year.
That's really cool. Congratulations to Scotty Weir. Hope to see him a few more times with us at the USAC AMSOIL National Sprint Car Championship before the year is over, but whether we do or not, still, congratulations to him. Indy Medal Finishing and Indy Race Parts Heat Race number 3 comes to life out on the track. This will be our final heat race of the night for the USAC AMSOIL National Sprint Cars. Let's introduce you to the starting lineup. Emerson Axum drives the Driven to Save Lives, number 39 BC for Clausen Marshall Newman Racing. He'll start on the inside of the front row from Franklin, Indiana. Next to him, Pleasant Hill, Ohio's number 33M. That's Matt Westfall in second.
In row number 2 on the inside, the 16K, he calls Norman, Oklahoma home. That's Kobe Barksdale alongside one of the stalwarts of USAC Sprint Car Racing from Fort Branch, Indiana, the 5S. That's a pretty race car right in front of us. That's Chase Stockin.
It is a pretty race car,
It
Pat.
is.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. In row number 3 on the inside, he's the winningest driver here in 2021 with the USAC AMSOIL National Sprint Cars. 7 feature wins belong to the driver of the number 4 from my own California. That's Justin Grant in 5th. And next to him in the 74X for Hodges Motorsports, Kansas, Illinois, the throttle, Shane Cottle starts 6th.
Brandon Maddox, he's in his familiar number 28, that red and orange machine. Terre Haute's his home, inside of row number 4. And the Angler Machine car from Worthington, Indiana, car number 14, the talented young Jaden Rogers. So a couple of drivers who are current point leaders in other racing series. Matt Westfall, the leader of the Boss Series out of Ohio, and Chase Stockin, your current MSCS points championship. And it is a combined MSCS USAC event tomorrow night down at Tri-State Speedway.
You know, Chase Stockin's leading the way in that MSCS championship chase. Drake York and I were talking about it this afternoon while we got here, and we're watching Devin Berkeley do all the hard setup work. And, boy, Stockin is just running away with that thing.
You know,
right
and
now.
his grandfather, Sam, was very much involved in the early days of that series. And Chase himself they had a separate steel-blocked sprint car series, and Chase was a champion of that series. Ultimately was a king at Paragon Speedway, so made his way up in a slow, steady way to become a regular on the USAC trail now for a long, long time, as you well know.
So field should be coming around to see 1 to go here one more time. It's Emerson Axum and Matt Westfall at the front of the field. Kobe Barksdale and Chase Stockin in row number 2. Grant and Cottle share row 3. Maddox and Rogers in that 4th and final row. They do, in fact, see the 1 to go signal at the start line. This will be the same as the first 2 heat races you've seen. 10 laps in length. And if you want to lock yourself into tonight's A main event, you've got to finish in the top 5 positions. If not, well, you get to do a little bit of extra racing in the Elliott's Custom Trailers and Carts semi-feature, which will be later on this evening. It's a good race, but everybody wants to make sure they lock themselves in to the top 5 positions, making sure they race in the A main event. Here we go. Third and final heat race of the night. Indy Metal finishing Indy Race Parts bring it to you. And Emerson Axum takes off at the green flag. Look at Chase Stockton trying to make the top side work. Yellow flag waves. We're going to bring it back.
Well, it was pretty interesting for a moment there. I wondered whether Chase had enough room to operate up there. We'll see. By the way, Brady Bacon will be down in his trailer, as he often does, signing autographs, and they put it out. They've got those 164 die-casts. Go down and see them.
I'm probably going to bail on you, Pat, and go get me a couple of those.
I'll give you some money for mine.
That is a really cool promotion. Check out Brady's social media. We're going to try it again here. Indy Metal finishing Indy Race Parts. Heat race number 3. 10 laps, top 5 advance. Axum and Westfall going to do it again as they come through turns 3 and 4. They'll wait to see the green flag. There it is. And we're going to do it one more time over in turn number 1.
Well, Matt Westfall's been racing a lot longer than Emerson Axum's been alive, but Emerson shows plenty of moxie, and Matt Westfall can see right now that his tail tank's in front of him.
Matt Westfall worked right down on the inside, but it was Chase Stockton who went to the top, just as he does there again. Good race for that second position, starting to develop. A little bit farther back, 5th position. Trying to find out exactly who we've got racing for that. Jaden Rogers comes around here. Shane Cottle in the 74X. Up into 4th now.
Yeah, and again, Jaden Rogers has just been so very good on the local scene, as they've been true for several seasons now.
Leaders work their way down the back straightaway. Talked about it already, but when Axum made his debut with the USAC National Sprint Cars, he ran to 10th at Farragut in his first ever national appearance in a non-wing 410 car. Look at Shane Cottle.
Yep.
He's moving. He's grooving. He's up to 2nd as he gets around Chase Stockton, putting Stockton back to 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Matt Westfall and Kobe Barksdale are behind. Brandon Maddox runs all by himself in 6th. Not close enough yet, Pat, to mount a challenge for the transfer.
Now, is anybody in the USAC Gentry right now run the bottom any better than Shane Cottle? I don't think so. And he is really starting to pressure Emerson Axum.
And the biggest story of all, Justin Grant, JG, is in that number 4, and he is behind Brandon Maddox, meaning he runs 7th. Again, we take the top 5 and lock him into the A main event. So Grant and the number 4 car struggling to find things out.
I don't know if he sounded that well crossing the start-finish line, and he admitted that they've had some motor gremlins to deal with. But a great battle up front is, boy, there's Cottle hiking the wheels.
A veteran and a rookie, both in every true definition and sense of the word. Emerson Axum's got one of the best to ever do it. Right behind him, white flag's going to wave. 1 to go here in heat number 3.
Yeah, and Shane knows well enough that he's in a good position where it is, but boy, he'd like to take that spot and guarantee a good starting spot for the feature event, but Emerson's protected the bottom.
Exactly like he needs to do, and he'll be the first underneath the waving checkered flag. Emerson Axum wins Indy Metal finishing Indy Race Parts heat race number 3. He'll be joined as a transfer driver into the A main event by Shane Cottle in 2nd, Chase Stockton 3rd, Matt Westfall 4th, Kobe Barksdale 5th. The names locking in are big. The names locking out could be even more surprising. Brandon Maddox, Justin Grant, and Jaden Rogers will all go to the Elliott's Custom Trailers and Carts semi-feature. So Axum brings it around turn number 4. He'll head down to the inside of the front straightaway, where I do believe Drake York is back from his adventures on the West Coast to talk to our 3rd and final heat race winner of the night. Drake?
Thank you very much, Tony. Emerson Axum wins Indy Metal, finishing in Indy Race Parts, heat race number 3. Emerson, obviously, Clausen Marshall Racing in the short history of Circle City. That tonight.
You know, they usually, don't put too much pressure on me because, I know I got a good car, so, that takes a lot of pressure off, with Driven to Save Lives and Indiana Donor Network and Clausen Marshall. I kind of hurt our performance in qualifying, but was able to rebound here, and I knew Shane Cottle was all over me. I think that's who that was. I just knew I had to hit my marks.
Emerson Axum wins Indy Metal, finishing in Indy Race Parts heat race number 3.
Well, very good. That's a little easier than the last interview that I saw Drake York do on Flow Racing.
I knew you were going to bring that up. That was pretty good
How could
stuff.
you not?
That was pretty good stuff.
It was pretty good job by Drake York, a young man who handled that about as well as anyone could have.
Midgets are making their way onto the track before I jump off here and Tori takes back over. I want to remind you folks that Hoosier Racing Tire is the official tire of the United States Auto Club. For more information on the tires designed for champions, contact Hoosier Tire online at HoosierTire.com. Flow Racing is the official video partner of the United States Auto Club, where you can catch every USAC National event live and on demand throughout the 2021 season. And finally, ProSource has put up a $2,500 year-end reward to the driver who passes the most total cars during the feature events throughout USAC's 2021 Silver Crown National Sprint Car and National Midget season.
Midwest Thunder, midgets